Hello, friends. Happy Thursday. We're going live just a few minutes before the actual scheduled time because Justin Cotler is actually going to be joining us today. I know originally it was supposed to be Alex Gazan. Unfortunately, she woke up not really feeling well. She is still in Europe. I know a couple people over there aren't feeling well either. So we're going to let her unwind and relax. And today we're going to catch up with Justin. And it's going to be so much fun because, he's always great to chat with. And the switch over to HWPO and Alex finishing second at Rogue. We'll talk about that and just what he's been up to lately. And just, it'll be fun to catch up with him. And this is going to be our first guest on Live with Laur. So it's something that I've really wanted to do. I know that our time has shifted a bit. I'm also in Arizona, so a different time zone today. Right now it is just about noon for me. We will try to still mostly do these at 5:30 p.m. But originally when I was going to have Alex on, since she was in Europe, I was trying to figure out, okay, what is a time that's still early enough for you where you can get to bed? But yeah, this is going to be a really fun, 40 minutes or so with Justin. Once he arrives, we will bring him on the show. I won't have the questions, I won't have everybody's live chat pulled up throughout. But if you do have a question, keep putting them in the chat because as we go through the interview, I will bring some of them up on the screen if you guys have some good questions for Justin. So feel free to do that. I am just now going to make sure because I had to change the thumbnail and adjust things, which I've never done on the fly before. So I just want to make sure everything looks good from where you guys can see it. Okay, it looks like it's up there and good to go. I'm just going to post the link once more. And as always, how is everybody? What's everyone been up to? Who watched Rogue? It was a really cool viewing experience. I mean, they always do such a great job that, they really do invest in their broadcast and giving a good experience. And now we have Justin with us. You're back home.
I am, and I'm in the car dealership.
Yeah. So what happened with your vehicle this morning?
Oh no, my battery's dead. I don't know.
Oh,
who knows?
Man.
It's just one thing after another. How are
When
you?
did you get home? I'm good. I'm
Late
actually
Monday night.
Late Monday night. Okay. Did you get to do any sightseeing or any of that fun stuff while you were there, or was it just business?
Business. Just business. Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Are you feeling jet lagged?
I feel good. I feel great. I don't know.
Good.
I normally get sick coming back from Europe. No, I do. I think of between Dubai, Rogue, I think I've caught COVID 3 times, like on overseas trips coming home. Yeah, like bad, like in bed for like days. Yeah. So no, I feel really good.
What did you do different this time that kept you healthy, or is it just the luck of the draw this time around?
I think it's luck of the draw. I don't know. You know what? I mean, I felt like I was a little better about fueling and sleeping. I don't sleep well, but maybe I slept a little bit better. Like when I say better, like maybe instead of no sleep, I got like 5-6 hours a night, which is pretty good for me, honestly. And then, I was nice. Like, it's my first time with the crew. In HWPO. It's just nice to have a crew. Nice to be able to, kind of bounce ideas and stuff off each other. And I felt there was just a lot of support for us over there because HWPO was one of the main sponsors and whatnot. So it was good. That was really cool. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I feel like it's a bit of luck of like Alex is still over in Spain and Jake is sick as a dog and she's trying to fight it off right now. He's definitely much worse than she is, which sucks. I mean, they're in Mallorca. Should be enjoying their week. And I think, they're currently right now at like the urgent care because he's so sick.
Oh
So yeah, I just
no.
got off the phone with him. Yeah, he's pretty sick. So
Oh my gosh. I
just
feel
told her
like
to
she
wear a
was a
mask.
couple years ago, her and Jake got really sick also when we were in London. I think it was the first
Fit
year of
Fest.
Fit Fest. Yeah, yeah. We started traveling and then I know we were supposed to do like a Harry Potter tour and she just like, poor girl, just got so sick.
Yeah. So it sucks, but I mean, it's a good, if she's gonna, she's not super sick. She's kind of like teetering, I think, but I don't think hopefully, I'm not on wood, she's gonna get what he gets, and so hopefully
Yeah.
it'll just be a couple of days. It's a rest week anyway, you know. I mean, but I just hope she
She
gets to
did what
enjoy
she
like
needed to do at competition. So
Mallorca.
I know. It
It's
looked like
tough.
she
I
at least
mean,
had
you know,
one beach
first of all,
day, which looked nice.
yeah, that looked good, and I haven't checked the weather over there, but I mean, generally it's pretty good, but
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I'm hoping she gets to enjoy it a little bit, but yeah, it was obviously a good week. So
Yeah. So we'll obviously get to talking about Alex and her return to competition and, having that, truly a tragic injury that could have been way worse. But when we speak about the transition from, owning underdogs, running that facility and business, essentially, what has been the biggest change since moving with HWPO? I know that you said having like the support and having a crew, but what are some of the other like biggest changes that you can kind of see right off the bat that have really convinced you, hey, this is the right decision and we're going to move forward this way?
I mean, I just feel like having the weight lifted off my shoulders of having to deal with all the back end stuff of running a business, especially when I was kind of doing it alone in a sense. And it's just feels like a massive weight lifted off my shoulders. You know, I mean, obviously, I'm very proud of everything that we were able to accomplish with underdogs, but you kind of feel, especially the last year or so, for multiple reasons, people, coaches leaving and diagnosis of my daughter, her kidney disease, etc. Just got to the point where like I think you get to the point where you have to prioritize the things that you really love to do and the things that you care about the most. And a lot of for people that know, people that run a business, right? You never shut off ever. You never get to shut off.
Mm-hmm.
And it just got to the point where like a lot, I was spending so much time doing a lot of the tangential things, and not the stuff that you want to be able to sink your teeth into. And I mean, HWPO it's a well-oiled machine, and the people that work there are incredible. Everyone is so good at what they do, and me being able to focus on specific things has just been really great. Plus I really like everybody, which I think makes it that much
That always
cooler.
helps too.
Yeah, no, for sure. And yeah, so I think just the whole thing in general, I can't think of any negatives. Honestly, it's been fantastic, super positive, and I'm really happy about the decision. And yeah, so it was cool. It was cool. This is my first like trip under the HWPO brand, and obviously very successful. And I like to say, listen, now it's it's a team effort too, so I can't take full responsibility for it. I mean, it's a mixture of myself and Alex, but it's the whole team. I mean, everybody, it helps each other. We have coaches back there we're all bouncing ideas off each other, for the collective good of the athletes. Even just athletes coming off the floor and, being able to say how they felt during specific events. And then, we relay that to to the person that's about to go on the floor, and little things that are, I think that are invaluable to success. And, so yeah, I'm stoked about, I'm stoked about the whole thing. It's pretty cool.
Good. And of course, going back to one of the big decisions of transitioning to working with HWPO was your daughter, Ivy, and her diagnosis. I was actually just looking at your wife, Ashley's Instagram, cutest video of the two of them working out together with barbells. But how is Ivy? And maybe for anybody who doesn't really know what's going on, like what is the latest with her? I know, we're all thinking of her and wishing the best.
Yeah, she's doing amazing. So she has what's called IgA nephropathy. It's a pretty rare kidney disease. It is chronic, and the kind of the main issue is that the disease, the result of these, what happens is excess protein is kind of dumped into her urine, and so the kidneys have more difficulty filtering, and over time can cause kidney damage, obviously. So the goal is to try to decrease the protein in her urine, and what's called the proteinuria, right? You're trying to decrease that, and you're trying to get the protein creatinine ratio down under 0.3. So when she was first diagnosed, it was almost at 3. So it was super high and really scary.
Oh
that was about a year ago. And that's progressively gone down through treatment, medications and whatnot. She's down to 0.8. So it's not fully in remission, but it's in what they call partial remission. So it's definitely in a better spot. It's not quite where we want it yet. And, we're still battling with the insurance companies. We've been denied for a lot of the medications that we want to try her with because they're not yet approved for pediatrics. So, you get to the point where like you're looking at clinical trials, you're looking at going overseas and trying to get medication that way. So it's a constant battle. I mean, you would never know that she has it. You can't tell. She's fully crushing everything. Her blood work just came back, and she has full function, kidney, liver function, that stuff that they look at, and she does not have high blood pressure. The main thing, the biggest thing for her is just she has slightly high protein in her urine, and she can live for years like that without any effects, but over time, it will create damage. So we're just doing our best to try to put her in the best, position for longevity, for all the things that she wants to do. And, you with a disease like this, where it's kind of rare and, but the drugs are getting better and better each year to battle it. And eventually the drugs that are used for adults will trickle down to pediatrics. So you just try to keep her as healthy as possible for as long as possible till the next really good drug comes along, and then the next one, and then the next one, and then hopefully eventually, it's completely treatable to where it keeps it at bay. So that's where we're at now. But she's doing amazing. She's one of the youngest level 6 gymnasts in the state of Nevada. She's absolutely incredible.
Good for her.
And she's crushing everything. Yeah, she's amazing. She's
every video that you guys post is just, oh my God, like what a talented little girl. And like you said, you would never know that she's fighting with this kidney disease just by, and of course, like I don't live with her, but the videos that we see you guys sharing and just the joy, and even watching the relationship that her and Alex have, I think is so wholesome, and just, I mean, it makes everybody have a bleeding heart, I think.
Yeah, she's just awesome. I mean, she's just tough as nails, and, great at everything she does. I think she's a great student. She's a great athlete. She's a great person. She's just a good kid. I mean, she takes after her dad. She's like the most competitive human being in the world, which I love.
Yeah.
And no, she's just great, man. But thank you. She's doing really well.
Yeah. Well, we're thinking of her and thinking of the whole family. And it's just good to hear that the transition from like a business side has allowed you to have a sense of relief and be able to deal with some of these family things. And, we're always wishing that, she gets the treatment that she needs and keeps having the upward trajectory, because, no parent wants to deal with their kids being sick. That's like the worst possible thing. So
brutal.
you know.
Yeah, thank
Thinking
you.
or talking about Alex and the terribly unfortunate car accident that her and Jake got into earlier this season. When you guys then were working on this journey to recovery and, okay, when are we going to be able to compete? What makes sense? Do we want to be 100% before we go out there? What were some of those conversations like? And how far were the two of you really able to plan on getting her back on the competition field?
Man, I feel like it was a roller coaster, honestly. After the accident happened, initially they thought it was maybe just a fibula fracture, and so that would have been pretty quick. I think within like a week or two, we knew something else was going on. She was experiencing drop foot. She was having trouble moving her foot, and we figured out very quickly that there was nerve damage involved. We didn't know the extent of it. Um, it was kind of scary because I think um, we weren't sure whether uh, how much damage had occurred to the peroneal nerve and whether it had been severed or whether it turned out that it seems like that there was a massive kind of golf ball sized hematoma that was compressing the nerve, which was causing most of the issues. And once we had that drained, um, I think we all were much more optimistic about how, that first of all, that she would come back. And there was actually talk that this might have been career ending, and
Oh,
there might
wow.
have been permanent nerve damage, which could have affected like just her ability to walk in general forever. So that was pretty scary. That conversation was pretty scary. But once we found out that that was not the case and that she was going to be able to recover, we really didn't have a good picture of how long that was going to take. So if anybody knows anything about nerve damage, it just takes as long as it takes. It's one of those things that there are things that they can do, but the issue is depending on how much the nerve was damaged, the nerve repairs at a very, very untimely rate. So it's not fast. It's very slow. And so we weren't sure exactly. But I think there were some signs of optimism along the way, but the problem is that then, something else would pop up because of overcompensation. She, then developed an issue with her quad and then an issue with her hip. And so we were kind of like, one step forward, one step backwards, one step forward, one step backwards. And we weren't really sure. We knew the games was out pretty quickly. She really was hopeful for second WFP. That was out. I knew that was going to be out. Possibly Tier Wadapalooza. That she was having issues at that point with her quad, so that didn't make sense because a lot of that was squatting. So really and truly, she was cleared to do everything about 5. Which is wild.
Oh my God.
She was able to do what
That is wild to think.
do. Yeah.
Then when you guys finally decided, okay, Rogue is going to be the next competition that she can do, was the goal or the mindset, okay, we're peaked for this and we are ready and we're going to take the podium? Or was it more like, okay, this is the first competition back. Let's monitor our expectations and really just see where we are. Where were both of your heads at that point?
So I felt like her overall fitness was in a pretty good spot. We had, we were able to do a lot of machine work. We were able to do a lot of accessory work. So I was concerned about was running and squat volume, because we just weren't able to do much of it. And I wasn't about to try to cram 6 months of training into 5 weeks. So, we knew that she would struggle on the back squat workout. We knew that she would struggle on the overhead squat workout. I figured the running would be somewhere in the middle of the pack. We haven't been able to, kind of focus on it, but she's I would say right now, probably slightly above average runner compared to the field. And that's the way it turned out. But she also has home runs, right? And I just think she's that good. I'm actually, like, to be honest with you, I'm kind of shocked since the event when I'm listening to a lot of the podcasts and a lot of the analysts. I'm kind of shocked that she's not getting a lot of. I mean, people are like, yeah, it was great, she injury, but like when people are looking at the future, I hear them talking about a lot of other people and not talking about Alex. Like, he competed at 3 events this year against everyone in that field and beat them. NorCal, which she dominated, and now Rogue, coming off a major, probably about 75, 80%. I mean, the fact that people aren't just like, holy shit, this is.
What do you think people are missing? What do you think it is that she gets overlooked, or
terrified.
They don't have as much like, I don't even want to say like fandom. That's not what it is, but like they don't recognize like what you're seeing and talking about right now.
I don't know. That doesn't make any sense to me. I guess maybe, they're looking at maybe like the running, some of the, like grindy CrossFit workouts that I don't know. I don't get it. I mean, she's beaten everybody in this field except she beat Laura at WFP. Like, she beat everybody else. Like, she cleared 3rd place by points. Trust me, if we wanted to win that last event, we would have won it. We need to. You know what I mean? That sandbag. That's true. That sandbag event, we win that event if we need to win it. Like, she didn't need to win that event. So I don't know. It is what it is, though. I love it. I make her watch all that shit so that it just puts that nice little chip. And
give her fire.
Yeah, no, it's true. Yeah, for me, I'm surprised at it. I don't know. Maybe she didn't compete in the CrossFit, like the games, and people are rewarding those people that competed at the games, saying that matters more. Maybe that's what they're saying. That's fine. At the end, it's all motivation. We know what we need to do. I feel very confident about her and her future as long as we can keep her healthy. I feel very confident that like she will have a period of dominance. I just saying that.
Well, I mean, and that's what you've been saying for the last, I want to say almost like 2 years at this point. It's been like, yeah, she is going to be a future champion. And you've been somebody who's trained a lot of high level athletes. You have Bethany Shadburn, you have Carrie Pierce, you even had Danielle Brandon for a while. Like, what makes Alex a different athlete that you can almost like call her shot ahead of time and say she's going to stand on top of the podium someday?
Well, first of all, I think her home run ability is massive, and it spans many different movements, from upper body pulling to upper body pressing to, barbell, squat, deadlifting, cleans, jerks. There's things that she does well. Two, she's incredibly adaptable to odd movements and odd objects, as we've seen at Rogue. That's something you have to be good at. She's also somebody who has the capacity to improve. Her trajectory is still this. There's a lot of things that she can still get really, really good at. Like the way she's physically built, I have no doubt that in the next year or two, she'll be one of the top 5 runners. Like that's just going to happen. But she's built for it. Like there's no reason she can't be. So there's all these different things that I know she has before. Plus, I think because her life is a little bit more balanced, a lot of people that that have been burnt out from this, she's not like. And I think that with what happened, honestly, I think the accident in a way was a blessing for her mentality, because she now feels that this is a privilege. So, and powerful, very, very powerful. She doesn't feel like she has to do it. She feels like she gets to do it,
I think it's interesting that you bring up her like having balance, and we see some of these athletes that are very much getting burnt out, and even with a lot of like the teen women, they've been doing this for so long, they grew up with the sport. It's so different than I think what we've been used to for the last 3+ years since the beginning of CrossFit. But where do you think that line is from having balance to not be burnt out, but also with being obsessed with what you're doing in order to be the best? Like where is that line?
So I think I've always felt like there has to be an obsession. That's just me. Like that's kind of the way I am.
Yeah, I agree.
Like that. But I think for her that worked, and I think she wants to win. Like she wants to be the best, but I don't think that it will ruin her life if she's not. With what we've seen over the last few years, I think it can take its toll, right? The pressure of expectation, it has very challenging for young athletes to navigate, and I think for her mentality and this balance allows her to be at her best. And so I have trying to put my shit onto her, because I can be over. I can create a lot of that. I kind of feel like pressure's a privilege, right? So I can create a lot of that, project. So I've realized she doesn't do well with that. so I have to, but yeah, I think in general, I think she's incredibly talented. She, people don't realize she just turned 24.
I know she's still so young.
Yeah. That's what I mean. She's not even in her prime yet. And I think if we can get a year or two of, knock on wood, training and health and all those things that I know we need to get to that next level. I have no doubt that, that she can be the best in the world, and that she can be the best in the world for a period of time. I think she's not, I don't think she'll just be like kind of a one-hit wonder. I think she's talented enough and still has enough of a trajectory to get better. I think the improvement, in a few areas is still, we can get to that point.
So here's a question. Do you think, we talk about her being potentially the best in a couple of years. Do you think it's a situation where, looking at the leaderboard and the other athletes, and there very much is this like tier of athletes that, you don't know who's going to earn that last spot on the podium or even the last two for some of the days of competition. Do you think that Alex can be the best and the top of the podium before Tia and Laura? And I know she beat Laura at one of the WFP, but do you think that they need to retire in order for that to happen? Or do you think she's able to catch up and or surpass with them still in the field? And maybe it's two different answers for Tia and Laura.
I think she is definitely good enough and will be good enough. I don't know if she's quite there yet, but I think in the next year or two that she will be good enough whether they retire or not. And I think we hope they don't.
For sure.
Yeah.
You want to, that's what a champion mindset is. You want to be the best. You don't want them to retire.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah. You don't want to hear people say, "Oh, she only won blah, 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 blah," right? Because this one wasn't there. So no, yeah. I mean, listen, we just keep plugging them, and I think the rest will take care of itself. But yeah, I think she's definitely going to be good enough to get to that level regardless.
And even speaking of, being at the best and the top of the sport, a couple weeks before Rogue, she actually, you and her went out and visited Matt Frazier, and they had some training sessions together. What was that experience like? And kind of give us an inside look, a peek behind the curtain of what were those like things that he was actually able to get his hands on and work with her towards.
I think that was great for a couple of different reasons. And have been very, very friendly for a long time. And then obviously, he played a big part in me coming HWPO. But Alex has really spent any time with him all. So to me, it was a no-brainer, right? To try to figured out where we could go and she could get in front of him for a little while. One, because obviously he has a lot of knowledge to impart, she has to listen to me all the time and gets to listen to my coaching all the time. So for me, it was great. You always want some other perspectives, and yeah. And for someone who's as good as he was and is, I thought it was just great for him to get eyes on. And I told him going in that I wanted to just kind of sit by and let him do his thing. I didn't want to influence the things that he was seeing or, kind of what he wanted her to do. But I think in general, just it was equally as important for us to just spend time with him and the family and his kids and, just kind of, be a part of the HWPO family, have Matt tell a lot of stories when he was competing. And I think it was very nostalgic, for him and then for her because she was a fan, of his. So in general, I think when you have access to the greatest indie athlete, that's ever competed, and if you don't use it, that's not very intelligent. So so we're going to use it.
Got to use all the resources available.
Yeah. And 100%. So yeah, it was great. I think she had a great time. I'm sure we'll do them, probably in the spring, and to see him at Rogue and kind of talk to him a little bit about what he saw. But in general, I just think he's a great resource, and absolutely, like it wouldn't make sense not to have him involved.
Were there any really major aha moments that, whether it was her or you or both of you guys, that you're like, oh my God, I can't believe that we didn't see this, or we didn't feel that thing that he made a correction to?
Not really. I think one of the more important aspects of what he was able to look at that week, we really focused on like snatching and just his experience Olympic weightlifting. And it was cool. I mean, she's worked with some really good weightlifting coaches before, but he mentioned one or two things that were just really cool cues. I think there's ways that people can say things that sometimes click. And there were a couple that she had talked about, which were pretty simple cues, but I think very effective ones. And I think for her, it's not I don't think it's not new news that her snatch is something that we're working on, and so between that, and then I think just some of the general cheat code type stuff, just on transitions and movements and things like that, where he was just so good at. I think anywhere that he could kind of say, hey, think about this, or think about this. I think it's just great. So in general, I think some of those cues for snatching were fantastic, and then obviously. But you also have to remember when we went, she had just been given clearance to do some of the things that she wasn't able to do because of it. So we weren't able to really like attack everything. And I'd love to be in a situation where, we could go back and maybe, have a couple more athletes there to kind of have some competition in a sense to be able to see her. But yeah, I think, again, I mean, obviously, it was really cool, that he was kind of giving us his time for that. I mean, obviously, he's got two little kids, and I know that's where he likes to spend most of the time. So it was great, very gracious of him. And we had a blast, other than the fact that Vermont's just really challenging to get to.
Yes, it is. It is. Gosh, so anytime I've been to their headquarters, I will drive, because it's only about, I think about 5 hours from me. So I don't need to do the flying and everything, but I'm telling you, most of the drive, I have no cell service. If I don't put the address into my GPS when I leave my home, there's no way I'm getting there, because you're just driving through the woods, and it's a beautiful drive, but you very much are secluded in a lot of ways.
Yeah, one of our flights was canceled coming back, and they're like, yeah, that always happens here. So, but yeah, no, it was awesome. Yeah, it was a great trip, and one that we'll do again too when it warms up a little bit.
Yeah, the better time to go, either in the early fall when the trees look pretty but the snow and cold aren't there yet, or in the summer.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
I forget, is Alex preparing to compete at WFP finals, or is she done for the season?
Yeah, so that's the plan. And what we did was we had her stay over there in Europe so that she didn't have to come home. But it's hilarious, because it was like, well, we'll have you stay there. There's less of a chance you'll get sick, and you won't have to. I know. and you won't have to, acclimate to coming back to this time zone and then fly back there and acclimate. So she's currently in Mallorca, and her plan is to stay in Mallorca for like 5 weeks, leading
Wow.
into WFP. But I think in general, I think this last WFP for a lot of the athletes, especially the athletes that competed at Rogue, you have to be really, really smart about how you prepare and how you recover, how you prepare. Um, you know, uh, I, I mean, I think my plan is, we're going to do a lot of running. We'll do a lot of swimming. We're not going to do a lot of, heavy barbell work. I mean, heavy percentage. Like it's really going to be more about just, keeping her body fresh and looking towards even next year, but the next several weeks for her are just going to be mostly about making sure the body feels good and a lot of just conditioning and I would expect a lot of people to be that way. I even
Mhm.
after the workouts come out, I don't really plan to like beat them to death. And I mean, I hate to say that, but also for her, and it just kind of sucks because just the way that it is, like the way the points work, she missed the second
Mhm.
WFB, so she can't really finish very high. Even if she wins, her point value doesn't put her in the top 5 or top
Oh,
10. So
okay.
she's very limited on like points and money and all that jazz. So in a way, like it's unfortunate the way that it kind of, but there's not really like a lot that she's playing for. So we're just going to be really smart, honestly, about how we're looking at it, our preparation, like everything. I think the key to me is I'm just really looking towards the future for her, and trying to make sure that she is set up for success for next season, and that we're starting to identify and we've already done well. We've done half of our debrief for Rogue. We got to go over like the second half of the weekend, so that we'll do that probably later today or tomorrow, and then I'll start putting together kind of where I feel like, okay, these are the things we're going to be prioritizing, and then put that together programming wise. And those are the things that we're starting to focus on now, because I kind of feel like want to use this momentum and obviously her getting healthy to be able to come back with a vengeance next year. I think a lot of the things we were hoping for were put on hold for a little bit,
Mhm.
and now that she's back and obviously already still at a high level, but not anywhere near where she's going to be, we can already start to work towards those things. And I think that's the most important thing.
Well, yeah, and even having an idea of looking at an entire calendar year and figuring out, okay, what are going to be the goals and when are we going to go on certain progressions. I think that this past year for coaches, athletes, brands, I mean, pretty much everybody in the space, it was very much a learning year when WFP entered the ecosystem. Now that you as a coach and somebody who's been in the space for a while has kind of seen it all play out. We now have mostly the entire CrossFit Games schedule for 2026. We're still waiting for WFP for their dates to release. Where is your head at? What do you think is going to be that system that works perfectly for an athlete like Alex?
I think Alex is in a situation that um, we have to be very careful about her schedule and about what she's, you know, how much she's competing, because for her, I still feel like we're we're not in a we're not in a period of like maintenance, right? Where we're just maintaining what she has. Like we still need to train to get better, and she still needs to
Mm.
train for growth. And when you're all the time, time, while it's the I think the opportunities are great for making money, for sponsorship, and all that jazz. You, you still want to be, and for someone like her, like she wants to be the best in the world, right?
Yeah.
If you're competing all the time, you're not getting better. You're constantly training just to maintain where you are. That's not going to happen. So we've got to be, and like when I look at somebody like Tia or somebody like Laura, they're in a little bit of a different scenario, right? They're a little bit older. They've already kind of reached that level. And now if they're going to get better, like that's going to be in very small increments. Like it's going to be, it's not going to be as major, I think, as someone like Alex, whose trajectory is still here. We're trying to get to that level. So I think this year was a learning experience, and personally, and this, I'm not speaking for everyone, but personally, I think from what I'm looking at, she had already competed in competed in NorCal. She was then gonna games. She was then gonna do WFP2. She was then gonna do Tier. She was then going to do WFP3. It's too much. So we'll have to look at the whole schedule and really down and prioritize which ones, we say these are what we know we are going to do. And then be very realistic. I don't want to say cautious, but I do want to say thoughtful about the other ones that we choose, because I don't want to put her in a position where she can't potential or maximize her because we just have her competing too much.
Yeah.
And I mean, so necessarily when it comes to the schedule, I just know that I think we have evidence from this year that we've seen some athletes whose performances have done this, or they've gotten injured, or, some of the things have happened that, or they're doubt, those things that I think we need to take. I think we need to take those things, and I think that's going to be important.
I think you make an interesting point, though, because I try to see, okay, we have these 2 seasons that have worked in a sense this past year where athletes could compete in all of it, but there very much was going to be a lot of competing in person. And who would that be good for? And I think if I'm hearing it correctly, the Tia Claire Toomeys who don't necessarily have weaknesses and could just potentially keep competing, not that we saw her do the WFP, but if she chose to, or maybe those bubble athletes that, need more earning opportunity or need to compete against a deeper field. Is that kind of what you're saying?
100%. Yeah.
I think it'll be interesting when they come out with their season and we see how they,
in the sense of like, there's a delay, and I apologize. I think it's the
that's okay. You're fine.
The thing. Yeah.
Got to get the car situation.
So I think that it's a great opportunity for athletes to make money. It's a great opportunity. But I think an athlete like Alex, where I'm looking at long-term legacy, like what she, not just financially, but just as far as like, how she'll be remembered in the sport, like the things that can accomplish. I think she's that good that it would be disrespectful to her and her career if we didn't consider those things, or at least if I didn't. The balance between making money, but also making sure that we maximize her potential or longevity. So I've got to take all those things into account.
Has she talked to you or told you what she wants her legacy to be? Or do you know, like, as a coach, what you would want her legacy to be? Or have you had those conversations?
I think she's finally at a point where she's not afraid to talk about those things. In the past, I think the best, or saying you want to be the best or you want to win the games, I think that terrified her. And in the last few that I've heard her talk about, I want to be the best to win, you know. So we're making progress in that sense, and I think now I've gotten to a point where I'm talking about those things without feeling like I'm putting the weight of the world. And it just took some to get there, but I think we're here, and now I think it's appropriate to have the discussion.
Well, Justin, I know that you're getting your car fixed. You're dealing with a lot. I so appreciate your time coming on here. We hope that Alex and Jake don't spend too much time at the doctor's office and they can enjoy being in Europe for the next 5 weeks or so. And again, just congratulations on HWPO. Congratulations on Alex getting second at Rogue. And once again, always thinking of Ivy and sending all the best wishes to you and your family.
Thank you so much.